Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I'm Vandana and Global Pulse is a daily product here at ThePrint where we dissect the way global media reports on what's happening here in India. Every morning, we look at a wide range of news outlets and see what they're saying about India, from original reports by field correspondents based here to opinions and editorials by experts. Global Pulse is a way to understand how the rest of the world perceives India, and we do our best to bring you all of it, from the good and the bad to the uninformed and just the plain funny. So let's get started with today's edition. The Financial Times editorial board presents its take on the Indian economy. India needs an ambitious agenda for higher growth, reads the headline of the editorial piece. Economic liberalization will help unlock the country's vast potential, it says. The piece opens strongly. In India, it says, run rates matter for the economy as much as they do in the nation's beloved sport of cricket. To meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi's target of turning India into a developed nation by 2047, the economy would need to hit close to 8% growth every year until then. Ambition is good, but to stand a chance of achieving it, India needs to match it with an equally bold agenda of economic reforms, it says. It's not news that the Indian economy is losing momentum. Plenty of global publications, FT included, have been reporting on the slowdown, closely following every tweak and adjustment to the economy. High unemployment, food inflation, low consumer spending, and drops in investment are holding India back as global economic conditions also become less supportive, they say. If Indians were hoping for answers on how the government planned to crank up long-term growth, there weren't many in last weekend's budget, the editorial commiserates. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman focused on propping up consumers. Policymakers are doing all they can, according to the editorial, but it's not enough. Rather than short-term jolts to demand, Modi's government should focus on raising India's growth potential through structural reforms, it says, before offering its true opinion. Economic liberalization is a budget-friendly way to raise India's growth rate sustainably, FT suggests, before immediately conceding that politics could be a stumbling block. It's not just the coalition government that needs to be managed, but also industries that won't be happy with tariff reductions. Opening the Indian economy up further would be like opening up yet another can of worms. But if Modi is serious about putting India on an improved trajectory to becoming a developed nation, his government will need to make unpopular decisions and prioritize policies that have a long-lasting impact on growth. Otherwise, India risks growing old before it gets rich, the editorial concludes, rather damningly. Meanwhile, India and Pakistan have a new bone of contention, the Washington Post reports: Basmati rice. Known as the region's scented pearl, Basmati rice has become a grain that's coveted all over the world. Yet its origins have never been more divisive or its future more uncertain, the Post writes. Both India and Pakistan are sparring over whether Basmati rice is part of the shared heritage of both countries or not. New Delhi is pushing for it to be granted protected status as a uniquely Indian product. But Basmati farmers don't care about this fight between neighbors. For them, there's a different battle on the horizon, keeping the signature strain from disappearing as demand is set to double over the next few years. The debate over who owns Basmati is a complete waste of energy on both sides, the Washington Post story quotes an ecologist as saying. The grain is facing a far more existential threat. In the 1980s, Indian and Pakistani farmers seeking a market advantage began growing varieties that matured faster and produced higher yields, but lacked Basmati's characteristic richness. As small farms gave way to large agribusiness over the following decades, quicker harvest cycles, processing shortcuts, and soil degradation, partly caused by climate change, all contributed to a less fragrant rice, reports the Post. But the new varieties are cheaper and easier to prepare at home. More importantly, according to exporters, most customers in the West can't tell the difference. Basmati is rooted in the Punjab region and used to be the food of emperors and kings, owing to its richness. But today, it's a watered-down version of the past. Its international success, owing to biryani's global popularity, has put pressure on its production, the Post reports. From the start, India and Pakistan quarreled over who had the best Basmati and who had a rightful claim to the name. In the 1965 Indo-Pakistani War, Pakistani farmers accused Indian soldiers of stealing their seeds. India subsequently accused its neighbor of copying its most prized varieties, reports the Post. India has the undeniable upper hand today, outpacing Pakistan's exports. The legacy of Basmati rice might be in doubt, but it's no surprise that India wants to claim the grain for its own. The New York Times reports on one of India's internal battles, the one against Naxalites. Over 13 Naxalites and 2 policemen were killed in one of the biggest operations in recent years in Bijapur, and several assault weapons were recovered by the police. The insurgency was at its peak 15 years ago, the report says, but government operations have given them less space to maneuver. In recent years, civilian deaths have dwindled after government operations shrunk the space for the insurgents to operate. The insurgency's leadership has also struggled, analysts say, in the face of targeted operations, old age, and illness, NYT explains. The Home Ministry told Parliament last year that the threat of leftist extremism has dropped significantly in recent years, in terms of the number of deaths as well as the amount of affected territory. The Maoists are at their weakest, the report adds, struggling to recruit new members after suffering territorial losses. Meanwhile, the FT's view on the Indian economy doesn't seem to matter to the British establishment, which sees the country as a highly viable education market, especially as things don't look too rosy closer to home. British universities are looking to open campuses in India amid financial woes in the UK, reports The Guardian, and are hoping to take advantage of both changing visa regimes and international competition to get ahead in the game. India's higher education market has more than 40 million students, a market that universities like the University of Southampton, University of Surrey, and Newcastle University are looking to tap. Foreign universities weren't allowed to operate their own campuses in India until 2023, when changes in regulations opened the door to foreign entrants. UK universities attracted more than 125,000 students from India in 2022-23, but shifting visa regimes and competition from international rivals make those numbers uncertain. By opening branch campuses in India, universities can reach an untapped domestic market that is unable to study abroad, The Guardian reports. Southampton is a case in point. Indian students wanting to take a BSc in business management at Southampton's home campus would pay £24,000 in annual tuition, plus hefty visa, travel, and accommodation costs, the report says. But from August, the university's new branch at Gurgaon's International Tech Park, a special economic zone, will teach the same course for about £12,000. Surrey, too, is exploring opening a new campus in Ahmedabad's Gift City, a special economic zone offering tax exemptions and profit repatriation for high-ranking foreign universities, The Guardian reports. The real question is how these international campuses will function when most of the universities are struggling domestically in the UK. But for now, British universities are hopeful that Indian enrollments will buoy them out of danger.